SCP-3026 is the Neurovore, or the Fashionable Neurovore. Now, I have no idea what a Neurovore is. I imagine that it has to do with a diet of some sort, like omnivore or carnivore or herbivore. I don't know. But it's by Detective Void and we're going to react to it. Make sure to hit up Detective Void's channel, guys, and subscribe to him. And let's get into this animation.
Hi, Detective Void again.
Hello,
Today
Detective
we're going to
Void.
talk about another very strange
You got glasses
object,
over your eyes, over your mask?
Or the Fashionable Neurovore,
Or
as though the
sunglasses?
Foundation itself isn't strange, right? I thought of him when I saw a guy on the street with one of those mullet hairstyles that was popular back in the 80s.
I had a mullet,
kind of
yo.
disgrace in the style of David Bowie or Paul
Yeah,
McCartney.
I was really young. Okay, don't
SCP-3026
judge
has
me.
this exact hairstyle. It's
All right.
classified as Euclid, and its looks aren't the only thing that kill.
Oh,
the object
God.
looks like a boy of 8 or 10 years in a
8
red
to
jacket and
10
pants
years
wearing
old.
sunglasses. It's clear why it was
Spiked
nicknamed
collar.
Fashionable. The kid almost always sits motionless, occasionally reacting to what's
He's
happening around it.
kinda
It does not
looks
eat,
rough.
nor does it experience other typical physiological needs that are characteristic of a living creature.
Okay.
Probably not in the usual sense anyway.
He's
The object's
inanimate?
main gimmick is that it can stretch its limbs as long
Oh!
as 7 meters in length
So
and
he's
retract
like,
them to their normal size almost instantly.
the stretching
latter
man
property allows the object to
from,
effectively avoid contact with scientists who are trying to take sample of its wax. We'll talk more about
Wax?
this later.
Huh,
It
the
moves around
Fantastic Four.
exclusively with the help of this property too. The object pulls itself or pushes off walls and objects within a 7-meter
Weird.
radius. Then it falls prostrate and pulls its torso along, raising it up vertically only after stopping.
How
No matter how creepy and funny this
bizarre.
method of movement may look, it allows the object to reach speeds of up to 40 kilometers an
24
hour or
miles
24.5
an hour?
miles an hour. Now about the
Some
wax.
fast
The object's clothing,
slothing
glasses,
around.
and hairstyle are made of a substance almost identical to Caranuba wax. This
Okay.
ingredient is used in industrial settings, including the food industry under the guise of E903 additive. It's
Alright.
extracted from palm leaves in Brazil. The only difference between natural wax and SCP-3026's wax is that the latter adjusts in color and texture to whatever surface it comes into contact with.
Alright.
This substance is called SCP-3026-1. It's
Okay.
released from a special hole near the
Ugh.
object's left eye. To generate it, the creature pulls the left lens of its glasses.
It's just
In the event of any
secretes.
damage, SCP-3026 uses the wax to restore parts of its appearance. I got a hold of some Foundation documents that say the waxy substance is quite strong. Foundation specialists conducted 427 tests, confirming that it can
caliber.
withstand damage from a bullet up to 44 caliber.
Dang.
The wax can endure 12 lower caliber rounds, but is instantly destroyed by a single caliber round.
Okay.
The object must be exposed to at least 3,000 lumens of light. If SCP-3026 is deprived of a light source, it emits a high-pitched sound that measures 110 decibels in volume. The effect is extremely unpleasant.
That is
85% of those who
loud.
hear it begin to experience severe anxiety and
Yeah.
fear. The strength of the emitted sound is comparable to that of a helicopter taking off in the immediate vicinity.
Yeah.
For those who haven't experienced that before, I'll clarify. 130 decibels is a feature of the pain threshold. Concussions occur at 140 decibels, and shockwaves
160
occur at
is a
160
shockwave.
decibels.
Yeah.
Then SCP-3026
That's very,
starts
very
to move
high.
in its usual way, to the nearest sufficient light source. The search mechanisms for both light source detection and sound production remain unknown. The creature requires exposure to
Weird.
luminous flux to create its waxy substance. Studies have shown
Ah,
that after several hours
so it
without
creates
light,
it
the
because
Neurovore cannot
exposure
produce
of
it.
light.
Finally, we come to the reason for SCP-3026's
So is
Euclid
that how it's
classification.
destroyed?
As soon as a creature with a brain appears within its reach, that is, within 7 meters, the object attacks them.
I
It instantly
see.
stretches out its hands and
It
tries to
wants
break
to
the victim's
eat
skull
their
by any
brains
means necessary
or
until it
nerves.
gains access to the brain.
I was
Then
right
the
about the
Neurovore
diet.
pulls it out and returns to its neutral state.
Gosh.
Foundation documents don't report on SCP-3026's further actions regarding the extracted brain, but the object apparently doesn't do anything with it. Given the object's
just takes it out?
peculiarities, it's kept in a cell with an
It doesn't
area of
eat it? What?
324 square meters, measuring 18 meters by 18 meters. In the center is the object itself,
just
with a
takes it out the
7-meter
head.
radius outlined around it, so that Foundation
What a
employees
freak.
don't lose their heads upon entering the room.
Oh my
Sorry,
god.
a little bit of
Detective Void.
Several spotlights are always turned on in the cell as
The
well,
puns are
providing the
real.
required amount of light. They have reserve power supplies for uninterrupted operation.
So as long as it's
SCP-3026
under
was
light,
given to the
it won't
Foundation
seek
after receiving an
anymore.
anonymous
It's
call.
good.
They found it in a warehouse in Colorado
It just
underneath
secretes the
several
wax.
spotlights. The investigation
Yeah.
revealed that the space was rented by a fictitious company associated with the Are We Cool Yet hub. A note was carefully left on the warehouse door for Foundation operatives. The letter talked about the creature inside, its dangerous behavior, and its characteristics like the need for light. The
Interesting.
author of the note, a certain designer, disclosed that he found the object
Okay.
among exhibits of his own work. The creature was left behind with a small placard titled "At the Perceptus." It was a philosophical text about the conflict
I
of the
see.
individual in the world and attempts to find one's place in it. The author focused on feelings and perceptions. Removing the brain is supposedly an act of depriving an individual of their largest sensory organ. The creator of the Fashionable
That's
Neurovore
true.
also asserted that the object is the pinnacle of art. The placard was signed with the name
I
The
see.
Gardener.
So it's
The
an art
designer in
project
turn
that went
stressed
rogue.
that no one from his company had anything to do with the object. First, because it was not art, but something completely idiotic.
monster.
Second, he claimed that he knows the Gardener personally, and
Okay.
that they aren't capable of doing something like that,
Well.
and that they specialize in hallucination-inducing plants. And third, it doesn't fit the theme of the exhibition. Anyway, no one has seen the
It
Gardener
doesn't
since the
fit the
object was
exhibition's
discovered.
theme.
By the way, the Gardener is allegedly associated with the creation of another SCP object
I
under the number
see.
3424. This is a safe object, namely a lemon.
It's a lemon?
person looking at the citrus fruit from a distance of 1 meter starts to see a Latin American teenager. To do this, they have to blink and snap their fingers without breaking eye contact. We know that the guy who appears by the lemon matches
What?
the description of a teenager who disappeared in Texas. Here's what I think of all that.
Bizarre.
SCP-3026 has nothing to do with a human person, other
Right.
than the fact that it looks like a person when it's in its calm state.
Okay.
Meaning that it's not a person who has been modified under the influence of some sort of force. On the contrary, something created this object with a human appearance. As such, I only see one option here. That it's the
Yeah.
work of a rational being. This
Right.
conclusion doesn't point to the Gardener either. There are
Exactly.
enough carnivorous plants in the world that can form the basis of the object. One could
So-
also assume that a fungus has infected a human being, turning its entire body into a kind of wax.
Could
but
be.
those theories with viruses, bacteria, and fungi don't hold up, as there are no cases of infection. Suppose that SCP-3026 has been
rogue
created by
string
an
of
intelligent
COVID.
extraterrestrial life form. In such a case, these creatures
It might
either
be
had very specific
alien.
goals, or they're deviants. You
Yeah?
can agree that any creature claiming to be rational is able to study its subject in detail. In this particular case, it was a person that was the research subject for alien intelligence. It seems unlikely to me that an intelligent being wouldn't pick up on the fact that people don't stretch like that, and that they walk on 2 limbs rather than 4. This means
Right.
that either the creators are limited in resources and couldn't come up with a full-fledged design, or that the form is created exactly as it was originally intended.
Maybe they were out of an ingredient to their
SCP-3026's
master
only interaction
creation,
with
and
the
it was
surrounding
just
world
like
is extracting brains of
subpar.
living beings. The release of the waxy substance and the loud
You know when you
sounds
make
serve
macaroni
rather
and
to
cheese
preserve
without,
the
like, milk
integrity
or
of the
something?
object itself.
just butter?
It repairs itself when damaged and protects itself when
That
threatened.
is pretty
Does
cool,
this mean
though.
it was created specifically to collect brains?
It's-
There's something to that, of course. The fact
Yeah,
that it
what
looks
does
like
it
a
do with
child
the
helps to
brains?
attract attention, as
Yeah.
it sits there on the ground, lonely and lost.
Right.
Indeed, every other passerby will come to ask, is the poor guy lost?
Uh-huh.
Does he need help? Arms that extend for 7 meters help to grab its victim faster, and also prevent the victim from getting close enough to inflict any physical damage.
Yeah.
On its own, SCP-3026 does not look especially intelligent. It looks more like a cornered animal. If its only useful function is obtaining brains, it means that the brains are either necessary for its survival or for its creator's unknown purposes. In the second case, the object has to have maintenance and support. At a minimum,
Yeah.
the extracted brains need to be placed somewhere for storage.
Yeah.
Despite a possible theory involving spatial displacement, this has not been noted for SCP-3026. In fact, it doesn't even do anything with the brain
Right.
after extracting it.
It just
After
kinda
many years of studying
just holds
SCP objects, nothing surprises me. But the creation of our fashionable neurovore for the aimless mining of brains seems unlikely to me,
Right.
especially given the fact that Foundation specialists haven't found any connection between SCP-3026 and unknown intelligent beings of any form.
You know?
I'm inclined to another theory, no less strange than that one. First, I
Maybe
think
it's
that
just
the
trying to
object
read
was created
minds.
by people with the use of technologies unknown to us and another object. Second, the creator's purpose is unlikely to have been brain theft in
Right.
particular. Given the connection of the object to the Are We Cool Yet hub,
Said
this could be a crazy
maybe
genius
it's
aspiring
subpar.
to become an artist.
Right.
He may have previously tried
Could
to get
be.
recognition from members of this art movement, but he was not accepted. Actually, just like this time. Or the author could have been trying to harm the artists, given the danger of the object.
Yeah?
Later, another thought occurred to me. It's all very much like an attempt to cover one's tracks and frame someone else. SCP-3026 was either created to be strange and dangerous, or it turned out to be a failed experiment.
Yeah,
In any
failed
case, the
experiment
author
is what
decided
I'm
to leave
voting
the
on.
creature among the exhibits of the Are We Cool Yet movement. Then he attached a note on behalf of a particular person, the gardener. But we can't exclude the possibility that the
Framed
gardener's
him.
responsible for the
Framed
emergence of
gardener, like a clue game.
SCP-3026. For example, the object stops producing its waxy liquid after several hours without light, quite
Yeah.
similar to photosynthesis,
Yeah,
with which
it's
the
true.
gardener ought to be well acquainted. The hub doesn't believe that the gardener was involved in creating SCP-3026, but Foundation operatives have not yet found the artist, and that is suspicious in and of itself.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the person who wrote the note could have easily taken care of it. The Are We
It's
Cool
true.
Yet hub is an art movement with elements of avant-garde and surrealism, centered around anomalous objects, entities, and creatures.
That's
They
interesting.
have
I've never
no
heard of that
leadership or
organization.
established structure, rules, or even a specific condition for membership. These are free artists whose only requirement is to work with the anomalous.
I like that
Creative
symbol.
personalities are,
good
how
art.
should I put it? Creative.
Yeah.
On one hand, I'm ready to believe the artist who created
Some people are
SCP-3026
scared
and
of this
considers it to be the
creative
pinnacle of art. But its appearance really perplexes me.
Right.
Gucci, of course, created a men's 90s grunge-style dress for $2,000. But a 10-year-old kid in a red pantsuit, dark glasses, and a wax mullet on his head, no self-respecting artist in the 21st century would call something that looks like this the pinnacle of creativity. Therefore, I recommend that the Foundation look for SCP-3026's creator only among failed artists of the 1980s.
Right.
Other than that, the documents I've already mentioned reported other circumstances of the object's discovery. I should mention that the papers came to me from an unverified source, and that they differ from the official data on several points. The paper said that SCP-3026 was first seen by an agent who had begun investigating a series of brutal murders. I assume that we're talking about broken skulls and torn out brains.
Yeah!
Then the object was lured into an autonomous holding cell with the help of a Class D employee and taken to one of the zones. This does not remove all suspicion from the gardener, but we still don't know anything about them. There are only the words of the designer to rely on, that the gardener isn't capable of having created the Fashionable Neurovore. So what do you think about this object's origin and its purpose? Share your thoughts in the comments below, like this video, and subscribe.
Maybe the gardener has a reality bending properties and he accidentally created this thing, or the artist, you know. It could be anything, but I mean, failed experiment really sounds like what I would hedge my bets on. At any rate, guys, this was pretty hilarious. Make sure to hit Detective Void up, as well as a couple other videos that I reacted to that I think you'll love. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.